Fingers crossed, bud. Fingers crossed. Maybe that's good for the internet today. I hope, anyways. Well, guys, welcome to episode 75 of the Drag Drive Repeat Show presented by Summit Racing. For this episode, we're going to dive into Miles of Mayhem with car count, class count, close races, and stories from the racers midway through the week. Then at the end of the show, we're going to talk to Cody Clements from Australia. That's right. Other side of the world, literally. You're seeing these two right here behind me, different sides of the world, about his experience traveling to Sweden for this year's Street Week Sweden. And sometime during the show, I think it's about midway through, we're going to talk about the circuit 2025, and we're releasing dates and tracks tonight, right here on episode 75 of the Drag Drive Repeat Show. Mr. Eric White, will you please hit that intro video for us, sir?
Yes, sir. Let's go.
We're going to pack things up and hit the road and try to make it the next day.
Dude, we are live and ready for episode 75 of the Drag Drive Repeat Show presented by Summit Racing. Y'all, I'm telling you, I'm excited about this. My name is Mike Narks. I am the host of this Drag Drive Repeat Show and the news that happens on Saturday mornings. And I'm headed to Detroit tonight. I'm leaving tonight to go for my first full announcing gig. Dude, can you tell I'm anxious? Can you tell I'm ready?
Yeah, you'll do good though.
I mean, listen, I think I can talk about Drag and Drive Racing, so we'll be fine. Mr. Eric White, please introduce yourself. Tell them who you are and what you got going on, dude.
I am Eric White, the co-host of both the show and the news, except for next week, because I'm going to be on vacation, so I won't be here next week. But otherwise, I am your co-host every week. And outside of that, I do some photos at events, so wander around, take photos. I do some artwork, so some graphic design type artwork for different events, our events, other events, and just stay busy with all that stuff.
Yeah, you say some artwork. You've done a lot of artwork lately, and I want to say thank you because, dude, you've saved me a ton of time, and it looks way better than what I would do. So you're the man. So, guys, if you're looking for, like, I hate to just say event flyer stuff because it's so much more than that, but if you're looking for something that's going to help your brand pop, holler at Eric White. He's the man. Mr. Chris Wozniak in there making comments. Guys, bring the comments tonight. We got a lot of fun stuff to talk about tonight. I want to say, first off, you know the deal, guys. We can't do this without y'all. Race car friends are the axis this world turns on. I'm telling you, it's amazing to be up late and see the notifications coming in at all hours of the evening and in the middle of the day. I know what you guys are doing. You're sitting in the executive lounge on your phone looking at stuff. And I just want to say thanks for all the comments. Thanks for all the shares. Thanks for all the stuff you guys have been doing lately. It's really has helped us have this spike in followers and views and all that kind of stuff. So we can't do that without our race car friends, which are you guys that are watching tonight. And I want to give a big shout out to Brandon Parker this week. Him and I've been having a ton of conversations lately, and there's something fun that he brought to my attention that we're going to include in the circuit 2025. But we're going to talk about that again around the middle of the show. We're going to talk about all the fun stuff there. And then, of course, we got to thank our sponsors. They make all of our travel. They make all the equipment and supplies and all the stuff we do here. They make it possible. So thank you to Summit Racing. Thank you to Driven Racing Oil. Thank you to Molly Motorsports. Thank you to Car Chains 3D, who actually lives up close to Detroit. And him and I and maybe Lance Strager are going to have dinner tomorrow night after the Tech at Heads Up Hustle. And then WAF Racing, Chris Wozniak was in here earlier talking about that, dude, and love the new carb stacker / work stand. That's awesome that they've got. Performer built transmissions. We got to have Ryan on, man. We got to have him on to tell his story from Six Summer. Remind me of that. We'll do that the week after you get back. And then Howard's Cams, Luke B. I was actually messaging with him the other day, talking about some cam, shaft, and valve train, just questions I had. That's the great thing about having folks that are that smart in that community. And then I don't know if you guys have seen Sweet Patina has been all over the place, dude. They've been to so many different shows and stuff. It's been crazy. And our next step is to get them to a drag and drive, which my goal is the Circuit 2025 to be their first drag and drive event. And then Racing Junk Classifieds, we did a Racing Junk segment on Saturday's news. And dude, there was a car built by another drag and drive racer that was for sale in the drag and drive segment of Racing Junk Classifieds. Pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And then, of course, PowerTube TV, that's where you can see some exclusive content from us. And then these episodes, we edit them down or edit them around, I guess, probably not down, to different episodes. So you have different parts of the show that are kind of, I would say, cut down into a easier to chew hour-long segment for a couple different episodes over there on their podcast specific channel. And then they just rolled out today an off-road specific channel to find all of their builders and content creators on. So pretty cool stuff. So thank you to PowerTube TV. All right. Well, y'all know Summit Racing brings you this show. They bring you the news. They bring you a lot of the stuff we do, the Circuit 2025 as well. Well, their speed legacy began in 1968 as a one-man startup and is now the world speed shop with 4 facilities and 200 plus catalog editions. Fueling your passion, they save you money, deliver fast, and offer top-notch customer service for more than 1,500 brands. Make sure you download the Summit Racing mobile app for easy access to speed parts. You can find them on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. Jeremy's over there always posting stuff up and doing all his stuff. Justin. Not Jeremy. Why do I call him Jeremy? Every time it's Justin. You can find him on the On All Cylinders podcast as well, which is kind of like this automotive discussions podcast from humble origins to the social media lane. Summit Racing stands by your need for speed.
Uh-oh. Are we freezing already? Mike, we're only 7 minutes into the show, man. All right, let's pick up where Mike froze off there. So this week on Summit Racing was a way back Wednesday post. So this is the cover photo from July of 2014. So we're talking 10 years ago. This is Carl's first gen Camaro. It made the cover of their Facebook page for a week as the car of the month. So asking this to the group, is this something that you would like to see us do for Race Car Friends group? So do like a car of the month cover photo. And then the first week of the month would be a picture everyone votes on leading up to that. So I know I'm in a bunch of other groups and that is a fairly common thing. So race car group friends kind of chime in and let us know what you think. Should we do something like that? We alternate, every month doing a different cover photo, because that's something that we can look at doing. All right.
Frustration is real. Holy moly. All right, guys. Well, like Eric said earlier, he's going to be on vacation, and we don't want to bother him while he's on vacation. We don't want him to take away from any of his sun tanning beach life that we're jealous of. I'm just a little jealous. So if you want to be next week's guest co-host, or somebody that would be a good alternative, hit me up. Let us know. We want to talk to them. We want to see how they get going on. We want to do it. We want to kind of have some fun with this. We've had Adam Dory on. We've I would say Derek Putnam kind of helped at some point. He was almost a co-host when we went through the driven racing oil stuff there for Six Summer. So
yeah,
if you're into that, holler at us. Let us know.
And clearly we need a co-host, because when Mike freezes, we got to have somebody on screen to keep rolling.
I mean, dude, I have no idea. It's got to be the the link from the house to here. That's the only thing I can think
But
about.
it
So
just started recently. I mean, we did
yep,
70 episodes and hadn't had any issues. So
yep, yep. So I'm gonna have Andy's computer repair set up all this stuff. So maybe I have him come by one day next week and take a look at it, and maybe one of the antenna deals got hit with lightning or something. Who knows? I don't know. So yeah. Anyways, I'm back. Let's have some fun, dude. Let's get into this, man. Let's get into the driven racing wheel events.
all right. Why gamble with performance or protection when you get proven results from Driven Racing Oil? Trusted by top engine builders, winning racers, and devoted horsepower enthusiasts around the world. Driven takes legendary base oils such as the ones from Bradford, Pennsylvania, which comprise their GP1 line. Then Driven boosts that superior base with state of the art additive packages. Driven's GP1 Nitro 70 not only provides anti wear protection, but can even shield cylinders from washout and fuel dilution caused by using methanol or nitro based fuels. Learn more about Driven Racing Oil by following them on Facebook and Instagram at Driven Racing Oil, or shop now at drivenracingoil.com. And you can pick up one of these new red, white, and blue American flag, bald eagle on the back t shirts.
Mm-hmm. Yep, you can do that. And mine is packed in my suitcase, or I would be wearing it tonight as well. And then,
Yes, yes.
yeah, orders over $100, over $99. Get a special. Hold on. Nope, wrong button. Yeah. So they
There we
get
go.
the Wizards car wash pack. It's kind of cool.
Yep. Yeah, that's pretty sweet. And they've been doing something like this recently, where they've been doing some kind of special. So this one is the July summer special, goes all the way through the end of the month, which is only a week from today.
Yeah.
So all orders $99 or more get free shipping. Plus you get that Wizards car wash pack. Look, you can get a Driven hat. You've got the new t-shirt. They've got garage banners. They got women's tanks. They've got all kinds of cool stuff. They've got a lot of different merch that's
Yeah.
pretty nice, very nice quality stuff. So
Yeah. Merch. Oh, and the oil.
yeah, oil counts too. We're only talking about merch, but yeah,
Yeah.
don't forget about what they're actually here for is the racing oil.
Yeah, the shirt's $15, dude. Like
Yeah.
it's cheap, man. Shirts now are 25 and $35. So that's a great deal. Well, guys, let's talk about Miles of Mayhem because it has been a bit wild, to say the least. There are 164 cars on the property, which I think is about what they had last year, or maybe a little more. I'll have to go back and look. I just didn't have time to do the reverse research today. I was trying all I can to get into this. So 164 cars. There's like 12 different classes. There's all kinds of class counts. So lead us into that, man. Tell us what's going on.
Yep. So the bracket class had 52 of the 164 cars. So obviously big class there. The 750 index had 24.
Yeah, that's huge. That makes for really, really tight racing.
Yeah. Yep. The man pedal, obviously one of our favorite classes, 18 in the stick shift man pedal class. And truck and SUV had 17, which is pretty impressive.
Man, that's wild to think that there's like that's a class in itself, but like that you would have that many racers in that class.
Yeah.
That's a lot. And it really makes sorry, I was gonna pull it up while we were sitting here. Looks like, I mean, there's some dudes that are fast in that class, like 580s from Steve Grunke.
Yeah.
That's pretty quick. I don't know what he drives, but that's fast for any truck or SUV, no
Right.
matter what it is. Yeah. And then of course, Pat Miker, we love that dude. His car is so sweet.
Oh yeah, that
Yeah.
is definitely a favorite there.
Fastest car of the event so far. He's run fours both days, 489 and a 4808. And then Steve Gronick in the little RX-7, I think is what it is, or Celica, one of the two. I can't even remember. I think it's Celica now. He's run a 489 or something like that, ran it yesterday. So pretty cool that those guys are out just kicking butt. Fours in the eighth mile in a street car is really, really fast for folks that don't know.
Yeah.
And then let's talk about some close races, because obviously with this many classes, you're going to end up with some stuff. I will say there's not as close as what I thought for the top three, but we're only 2 days of racing in. So it kind of
Right.
makes you really see that starting on day 3 and 4, especially. So Modern Muscle is separated by, we're going to go over that in a minute. Modern Muscle separated by just 0.06 ish, somewhere in there, 59 or 61 or something like that. The bracket class, first place is Randy Hastings. Second place is Gord Barnett. They are separated by 0.0013 between 2 days worth of averages. And then the top 7 in the bracket class, again, 52 cars in that class, they're separated by less than a tenth.
Wow.
Or sorry. Yeah, they're separated by less than a tenth, but they're a tenth difference in their ETs.
Mhm.
So the bracket is kind of like the DYO class everywhere else, right? And then man pedal and man card holder, Mr. Taylor Hedrick posted, the dude that drove from North Carolina 2,100-ish miles in
Yep.
to even start the event. He said, we currently sit 5th out of 17 cars. Unfortunately, this is after day 1. Unfortunately, that standing will only fall as we have hurt the engine. That's so sad. He said, I'm not willing to kick the rods out of this thing this far from home. We've decided to stay, take it easy, try to finish the week and have fun cruising with our awesome Canadian buddies. He said, this is a heartbreaker. However, I'm surrounded by truly awesome people and are still having a blast. He said, side note, next week, this engine comes out of the car, never to return again.
Yeah. Yep.
So,
And is
yeah.
is that his car in this photo?
Yeah. Yeah. So this is, again, a stick shift 7-second 2-valve Mustang. This car, he's been, I'm not going to say plagued. He's come out and won some events, but we saw him at Midwest Drags last year. He had ballooned the radiator.
Yep.
Then he had struggles after that at another event. I think it was Drag Week maybe, or Southeast Street and Eat. And then so he's back. Dude, driving this thing, he'll have, what did we say, 5,300 miles on it or something like that by the time he gets home.
Right. Yeah. And he's
Wild.
just pushing the limits of that car. That's what it comes down to.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, you're just all over a small block, a minuscule cubic inch setup that's what's happening. I mean, you're just
Yeah.
having to push it so hard that things are breaking.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah,
Wonder what he's gonna throw in it next.
LS probably.
Think so?
No, there's no way. So
I
he
would
should.
be all for it.
Oh yeah.
So a couple things to add about Miles of Mayhem. Couple cool stories. For the first time in 4 years, Miles of Mayhem had to call a day for rain.
Yeah, that's
That's
pretty wild to think that you got 20 days worth of racing out of this thing
yeah.
with no rain. Wow.
Yep. Yep. And then over on the right there, that is hilarious. They are doing some golf cart drag racing.
Yeah, in the hotel parking lots, unloaded them and are out there just making rips.
Yeah, I'm not sure who's in those photos. They're too
Yeah.
small for me to see there, but that is absolutely hilarious. Glad to see they're having some fun though.
No, yeah. Yeah, flagger and everything there.
Yep. And Ron Thiessen, roadside transmission change here. So you can see these couple of photos. That's got to be rough. Transmission change on the
Oh,
side of the road is not a good time.
yeah, no. No, and they're saying it's really hot, like in the what would be, 30 degrees plus Celsius up there, which I think is like in the 90s, right?
You got me.
Yeah, I think 32 is hot. 32 degrees 100. So, yeah, it's got to be hot.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. So yeah, that's not fun, but best of luck there. Guy Incognito swapped
That's his name on Facebook. I love it.
swapped a rear diff into this Challenger there, so you can see
Yep.
that this is at the track though, right?
Yeah, I think this was at the track and ended up having to like beat the piece apart. Like had to beat the old axle out of it and all that kind of, or the old axle out of it and everything. It's pretty crazy.
Yikes!
Yeah.
Yikes! At least it's not a roadside repair. If there's a benefit, that would be it there.
Yeah. Well, and I think this was also on day 1. So like if it's too tough, you could maybe make the change. You could go,
Yeah.
I just put that thing on the trailer. Let's go home.
Yeah. This one was sad. I saw this one the other morning. Jacob, what is it, Beckert?
Mm-hmm. That's the way
Uh,
I pronounce it. Yeah.
he hit a deer, found parts, fixed it, and stayed in the race. Then makes another post that says, "Well, we're out for real this time." Filled it with Pump 94, loaded a spicy tune, and then took some timing out, but the ECU didn't save my changes and scattered a motor after like 6 highway pulls.
Mm.
Yikes. But let me tell you, an LS flies at 30 degrees of timing on 6 psi. It was
Yeah,
fun until it wasn't, but it was the perfect spot to break just outside the hotel and the closest we'd be to home all week.
man, that's awesome. Yeah, it's really sad. When I first saw the picture on the left there of the after they'd hit the deer, I was sad for them. That's a cool car. And then to find the parts and get it all fixed, and then have the engine just decide it didn't want to play anymore. That's really sad.
Yeah, that's absolutely heartbreaking. I mean, you hitting a deer and then like, saying, "Hey, we're done." And then getting the parts and being like, "All right, we're back in it." And then
Yeah,
that is, I mean, that's absolutely deflating. There's no
yeah,
other way to put it.
yeah. That's for sure.
All right. And then this is the repaired fender on that after
Yep,
hitting the deer.
yep,
Yeah. So, man, that's tough.
yeah.
And then King of the Open Road is coming up August 2nd through August 4th. From their Facebook page, it says so many amazing cars from all over the country are coming to the 405 to get down and prove who is the king of the open road. We still have spots available if you are on the fence. Should be a packed house and a damn good weekend. So, again, August 2nd on Friday, registration, and then a 250-mile cruise.
Yep. Through Oklahoma, dude, it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah,
Jared routes are always just mm,
yeah, they're on point for sure.
yeah.
And the town of
Sapulpa.
Sapulpa, okay, Sapulpa, Oklahoma is blocking off Route 66, which is their main street, for the afternoon. King of the Open Road will have the Mother Road to themselves. How cool is that?
Oh, dude, and Sapulpa's really cool because it's really old school. Like the buildings were built in, the heyday of Route 66, and so you've got this really cool backdrop, and then to have it shut down and 150, 200 cars cruising down through there, it's gonna be
Yeah.
wild.
Yep. And then after the sun goes, the historic Route 66 TP Drive-In movie theater is going to be showing Twisters. Like,
Yeah,
come on.
yeah, yeah. That sounds like a fun date night, and this event was originally scheduled for April, and being in August, people will be ready for some sundown action by then.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know. It's been 80 degrees here all week, so maybe it'll be 80 degrees there then as well.
Yeah. And then August 3rd and August 4th will be racing all day at Thunder Valley. You've got roll racing, drag racing, and then a huge car show on Saturday. So that's going to be a good time. Oh, did we lose him again? He looks frozen. All right, and then we've got the New York State Dragon Drive. This one is August 2nd through 4th, and you, you can see the shirt there on the left. How cool is that one? Big
Oh man, I
apple,
love
big
that. Yeah.
burnout.
Yep. Yeah, I love that setup there. It looks really cool. It's gonna be a great shirt.
Yeah, yep, for sure. And then obviously you can see the flyer on the right there. So registration is going to be Friday the 2nd, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. at the Skyview. Then depart Skyview at 10:30 and head to Lebanon Valley.
Yeah,
So,
so no racing the first day, they register and drive. So,
yep,
we kind of talked about that a little bit before, how it ends up how that's pretty cool. Like we've talked about maybe doing a little bit of that with the circuit. So all right, and then Nostalgia Nights is the 15th through 17th. So you got a little bit of a break, got 2 weeks worth of break there between the New York State Dragon Drive and Nostalgia Nights. Again, Wabash Valley Dragway to Muncie Dragway, going to be Terre Haute, Indiana, which is where Jesse Fox of 3G Video is from.
Yes, it is.
So kind of exciting for him
Yeah.
to get up there and do that. Be
Yep.
at home.
Yeah, I've been there actually quite a few times to Terre Haute, so that's kind of a cool place.
Nice.
All right, I've got all kinds of stuff popping up on my screen here. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries.
Uh,
Go ahead.
Up next is the Dragway Rush. This is August 23rd through 24th. This is the only drag and drive in Eastern Canada. So obviously we know plenty of Canadians. So make sure you head over and support this one if you can. This one's going to be cool. And again, the only one on that side of Canada.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty awesome. And what's neat about this is like you actually have New York with the New York State Drag and Drive, and then you also have Dragway Rush, and they're just 3 weeks apart in the same kind of part of the continent there. So that'll be kind of cool
Right.
to see how that all works. Hopefully that brings more people out. And then of course we know that SICTA Magazine is talking about doing one in that part of the country. So maybe this will get people's whistle wet and they can get up there and do that.
Yeah, it's super cool seeing,
Yep.
these first time events popping up in different parts of the country that have been really missing a drag and drive. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's for sure. I see Jay here saying 86-degree transmissions in the pits suck, especially on a dirt roadside looks worse.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they did that at Drag Week. And then let's talk about the upcoming national events. These are, of course, Drag and Drive World Champion points eligible events. You got Redwood Rally, which is on like they say here, the left coast Drag and Drive event. So this is California and starts September 16th and runs through the 22nd. And on the 22nd, they're doing like a small tire shootout heads up deal. It's gonna be really, really fun. I wish this was on our list for 2025, but sadly, it is at the same time as Drag Week. So
For 2024.
yeah, sorry, yeah, it's definitely on the list for 2025. One of us is going to this one in 2025. Dang it!
Yep. And then the next points eligible event. It's kind of funny. All three of these points eligible events are going on at the same time, which
Dude,
is wild.
it's going to be so. Well, let's talk about after that. Let's talk about the World Champion stuff.
All right. So the next one then is Hot Rod Drag Week. Obviously, this is the 20th running of Drag Week, starting at National Trail Raceway. This goes September 15th through the 20th, and both myself and Mike will be on site for this event.
Yep, I'll be here until Thursday morning, and then I'm flying to Kansas City. But Eric is going to ride the rest of the week out. It's going to be awesome, dude. I can't wait. And then, of course, Rocky Mountain Race Week. This is the one for me. This one actually, this is what got me started. And sadly, it's on the same week as the others. And listen, Pine Valley Raceway in Texas. This is going to be a really cool one, or a really hot one, a really great one. If the weather cooperates, this could be one of the coolest ones out there because they're hitting brand new tracks nobody has ever been to, and they're hitting a state that no drag and drive has ever visited that I can find. I don't know of any drag and drive that has ever been in Louisiana. So this is going to be really, really interesting to bring 300 cars through, northern Louisiana.
Yeah.
As part of race week, or 2.0 is what some folks call it.
Right. But yeah,
well,
it's there's going to be a benefit for you on having all three of these eligible events happening at the same time, because you're not going to have to try to change the standings after every event, because it's just going to change all at once. So although not ideal to have them all on the same week, it is going to save you a little bit of time going through it.
Well, and the good thing is, like, what typically happens, especially like with Big Sky Race Week and then Rocky Mountain, or Six Summer and Rocky Mountain, with those being so close, you end up with a racer that may have done both, but for Six Summer, they spelled it with Mike, and then for Race Week, they put in Michael. So, having to find all of that, well, that will alleviate all of that, and I'll just have to do that one time now.
Yeah.
So it's going to be pretty interesting to talk about the Drag and Drive World Champion complications with that. That means we're literally looking at where we stand now, which is Bryant Goldstone in the lead. He could literally be dethroned that week, but he's also going to Drag Week, I would imagine. I haven't confirmed that with him, but I think he is.
Yeah.
So he's going to be there. Well, it's not necessarily his stuff that we're like. We know there's a handful of people that can match his points, and so we're going to go over that in a later episode. But the everybody underneath, that's a huge thing, man, because it really takes out for a lot of folks, like a lot of Drag Week people, it could take out that race week that could be their backup.
Hmm.
You know, now what backup are they going to have? Now what is that one if they're chasing this? What are they going to which one are they going to go to now? Which one do they have to go to get that maybe that 1 point, that literally that 1 point that could come down to being the that's what you needed to be number 1.
Yeah.
You know, because we got like a 1 point difference between Randy Seward and Brian Acton in the 850 world champion deal, and then the 10-0 stuff is so open. I mean, anybody could have a great event and just be way ahead. You know, Joe
Yeah.
Haney leading right now with 60 points. Second person, I can't remember their name, but they've got 58 points. I mean, that's literally the difference in being first and being second. Like that's a 3-point gap in the class that you choose. So
Right.
make your choices wisely for your class entry. You know, maybe it's not the best for you to be in a class that has 70 people in it. Maybe it's better to move your car up and go into a class that's got 10 or 12 and play the long game. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what happens.
Absolutely.
Yep. Well, let's talk about Molly Motorsports, man, because I love those guys over there. Eric and the team at Molly are so awesome. Attention, high performance enthusiasts and racers, meet the Molly Motorsports Power Pack Kit, your ultimate solution for power packed performance. The Power Pack pistons are made from either 4032 aluminum alloy to allow for tighter cylinder to wall clearances and improves temperature stability, or 2618 alloy to allow for increased detonation resistance. Tailored for various engine families from small block Chevrolet to Volkswagen and Audi, Molly has you covered. What sets them apart? Forged pistons, obviously, Grafal coating, and phosphate treatments for peak performance and durability. Elevate your ride with Molly Motorsport, where performance meets precision. Unleash the power within. Visit mollymotorsport.com for all the details. You can't even go into the layout of all the pistons they make. And for podcast listeners, Molly is spelled Mahle.
Yes, yes. Jay here saying, are the points posted somewhere after Midwest Drags?
They are not. They will be, though.
And Trevor Brandon, where do you find your points to see where you're at?
It's coming as well. I've got to get the Midwest Drags updated because I don't want to put those up and then go right in behind that. And I want to be able to post the top like 100 points standings so everybody can see where they're at. And that just takes gobs of time to manipulate all of that data.
Don't you got kids?
Right. Hey, I wish she'd work, man. I was paying her. I was trying to get her to do it. She did manually input all the data from Midwest Drags, and I think that ruined her for me. So, that's the way it goes.
All right. So this week's Molly Motorsports co-pilot spotlight was sent to us by none other than Mr. Jonathan Stonecipher for his co-pilot during Rocky Mountain Race Week. Everyone's heard us talk about Tim Gordley of Go Fast Photography. Obviously, he rode with me as well during the circuit, and we had an absolute blast doing that, riding in the minivan. I think his ride for Rocky Mountain Race Week was a little bit cooler than my minivan, though. They got to ride in Stoney's 2004 Corvette Z06. That's only one of 1,186 black Z06s of 2004. A little bit cooler than a Chrysler. I don't even remember what I had. Pacifica, something like that.
Yeah. Minivan. Super sexy.
Yeah. But I made it look good. What
Oh,
makes a good co-pilot? He shows up on time and takes fabulous pictures. I will agree with that.
Yeah.
Tell us a story about how your co-pilot saved the day. He kept me awake and saved me several times from hazardous road conditions. Tell us a funny story about your co-pilot. Even though he carries a camera, he is a little camera shy to be in front of the lens and not behind it. I added a pic of him shot by none other than Michael Narks and a photo he got of me in my natural habitat. So we got those photos in here. There we go. So obviously, photo of him on the left there, getting a shot of the. Is that an OBS? I think that's an OBS there. And
Carter
then,
Snell's.
yep, and then a picture on the right there of I see Stoney there.
Oh yeah, and then breaking news: Bryant Goldstone. Bryant Goldstone just sent me a message that Drag Week 2012 went through Louisiana. It hit Gilliam, Louisiana.
Ah,
So cool.
very
Thanks,
nice.
dude. Appreciate that, Bryant.
I thought you were saying he was going to announce that he was going to be at Hot Rod Drag Week.
Oh, I hope. Tell him. Hey, you gonna be at Drag Week?
Carter Snell, nice truck. That it is. That it is.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So again, guys, if you guys want to tell us about your co-pilot, we've already got the link in the chat. Click the link, head over to our website. At the top, you'll see Molly Motorsports Co-Pilot Spotlight. Tell us a story about those co-pilots. This is one of our favorite segments. We love talking about the co-pilots because we feel like they often get left out, and we want to highlight all the good stuff that they do on these events.
Oh yeah. And before we move on, I want to say why these are the kind of things I like so much about the Molly guys. Obviously, we've had Eric on in the past talking about pistons and all that kind of stuff, but like this was on their Facebook the other day. It was talking about I don't know, just their willingness to share this kind of stuff. But it's piston rings will micro weld themselves to the top of the piston groove. They were in this post. It talks about especially like in boosted applications because of the heat. So they said the closer to the top of the piston the ring is, the better for sealing. But once you do that, it really kind of gets into like this whole piston or ring micro welding itself, and that's what the picture on the right is actually just really small welds from that ring onto the piston itself, which in turn makes that piston ring stay in its place, which you don't want that. You want that thing moving around and always being in different positions than the other two. So I just thought that was really cool, and appreciate them for putting that out there. And
Oh yeah, we always love the tech tips for sure.
Teaching stuff. Yep. And one of the biggest reasons that we love the team at Molly is because they are also drag and drive racers. That's Eric's Nova on the right, and then George did Drag Week 2022 or 3 on the left, I think 23 in his Duster. So super cool guys. They've been on a lot of events this year, and they brought the tent set up to most of them, I think, as well.
Chris Wozniak here saying Raj set him up on a blind date with Matt Blasco at Sick Week 2024. Stranger danger all week.
Yeah, you got to watch those Canadians, man. They're all about the blind date stuff. Well,
yeah.
guys,
let's hear it. Let's hear it.
I'm
2025.
I'm so excited about this. So the circuit 2025 is going to be huge. Huge. Are you hearing me? It's going to be big. It's the biggest event I've ever put on. 2023 was awesome. Everybody that came, thank you so much. Thank you so much for putting your faith in me to host an event that was going to be a lot of fun. The circuit 2025 is going to be even bigger. I promise. We're gonna have a blast. We have moved. Little backstory: the reason we do the circuit in April is because my dad's birthday was April 4th. I've been working for years trying to get the dates and schedules to line up to where I could host it on his birthday weekend. Again, we lost my dad in 2020, February of 2020, and that's really what kicked all of this off. Well, for 2025, we will actually do our first day of racing on my dad's birthday, which is really, really cool. That's really awesome. I want to say thank you to the tracks that have helped me work through this because it's really taken some stuff. Now, here's the struggle with the tracks doing that is they always are scared of rain. This also allows us an opportunity to schedule later in the year if we need to do a makeup date or something like that. Okay. The Circuit 2025 will be hosted at Tulsa Raceway Park in Tulsa, Oklahoma, which is a huge facility. It's going to give us as much room as we could ever imagine. But I'm going to tell you why. One other thing that's really cool about it in a minute. We're going to drive from there on Route 66 to Mocan Dragway, which has been a host track of ours for 11 years. I love Mocan. We're switching things up. Obviously, my work with Tulsa makes this a little easier for the schedule, right? So Tulsa to Mocan, back to Tulsa. We're staying at 3 days of racing, y'all. I feel like I want this to be the premier regional event. I want people falling all over themselves to get into this thing. And we already have a sponsor on board. This is exciting. Chris Paget with Paget Performance or Paget Automotive. He's going to sponsor the heavyweight class. So
Sweet.
Jack Crawford, get your stuff ready. We're working out the rules on that. Rules will be posted here in the next couple of weeks. I would say there's not going to be much change between 2024s and 2025s, but we are going to follow the plan of Drag Week. Whatever we put in today, we are or this for 2025 is going to be in effect for 3 years. So it's got to be right. You can't make changes mid on all that kind of stuff. So I'm excited about that. We're still working on car count and how that looks with both tracks, obviously routes, and then this allows me to really get a whole new charity. You know, we worked with a brand new charity for 2024, which was awesome. I love the Southwest Children's Haven of Southwest Missouri, but we're going to find one in Tulsa so they can hopefully bring. Of course, it's going to be a children's charity. Bring those over to the thing, and then Jay Blanchard, you're saying, how do the shirts look? Oh, they're going to look awesome because they're going to have a gray 72 Nova on them because Brian Acton was the fastest quarter mile car we had, and then Jim Parkinson is going to be the other car on that because he's our fastest 8th mile car. So that's pretty awesome. But again, we're going to have a lot of stuff through the next few weeks as this thing kind of gets lined out. Now that we have dates, again, April 3rd through 6th is going to be our race dates. We're going to do a pre-tech and dinner party, pre-party dinner on Thursday night, April 3rd. So get that in. Get your times put in for vacation and all that kind of stuff. Be ready for this. It's going to be a blast. You need to be following the Circuit, a charity with horsepower, on Facebook. That's where we'll probably post most of the stuff first, and then we'll be sharing it from there over to Drag Driver Pete and to my personal page, to Eric's personal page, all that kind of stuff. So again, thank you to everybody. I see my messenger is blowing up here in the background. Yes, I'll get to everybody after the show, but I'm sure it's all about the Circuit stuff. So let's get ready. We're going to have a lot of fun. The Circuit 2025, Tulsa to Mocan to Tulsa. I hope you're ready for this one, dude.
I am always ready.
Yeah.
The only downfall, Tulsa is a little bit farther for me to get to than Mocan is.
Yes, but flights between Chicago and Tulsa are super cheap most of the times. So maybe
might
we'll
have
just
to look
fly
at
you
that
down
route.
and just do another rental car, and it'd be easier that way.
Yeah.
So,
I think it's I don't remember what I looked. It might be close to 10-ish hours drive from here to Tulsa.
phew, that's wild.
That's
Yes,
that's a lot of driving.
yeah, yeah. Hey, that's our life. That's our life. Steve Gronick here saying hi, hey from the highway on Miles of Mayhem right now.
Yep.
It's pretty awesome, dude.
Yep. Brandon asking if we're going to be at PRI this year. You know it. Actually, Mike has seen them, but just worked out what I think is probably Rev 1 of our Race Car Friends sticker this year, and they are going to be awesome.
Yeah, they're going to be really, really cool. We're trying to pin the details on when we're going to release the photos of that. And then
Yeah.
I want to give a shout out to Travis Wise of Revved Up Laser Works. He hit me up today. He's like, hey, if you're doing the award show, which we are, we need to get working on some trophies.
Yeah.
Like, what? You're right. So I appreciate having good people behind us, man. It really helps keep me in line.
Yeah. Not to mention, it's only like 4 months away.
Lee.
Yeah, the
That's
circuit's
intense.
going to be awesome. I'm excited. It's going to be, it's not on mine or my wife's birthday this year, which makes things way easier for me. So that's a plus too.
Perfect. Yeah, that does make it easier. You won't have anything to make up for. You don't have anything special to do. Well, do you want to lead us into some thanking our race car friends and stuff?
Yep, absolutely. All the comments in here tonight's been great so far. We're only halfway through the show, so keep them coming. Thank you to all of you guys, our race car friends. Be on the lookout for when we drop this PRI sticker. I think you guys are going to like it a lot. Also, thank you to our sponsors, Summit Racing, Driven Racing Oil, Molly Motorsports, Car Change 3D, WAF Racing, Performabuilt Transmissions, Howard's Cam, Sweet Patina, Racing Junk, and of course, Power Tube TV.
Oh, yeah. Love those guys at PowerTube.
Carl, make chest hair great again.
That's exactly right. Well, guys, the gentleman's agreement, it's time. Here's the deal. If you're watching this and you've enjoyed this, we enjoy doing this. We enjoy providing this for you. But listen, it's not free and it takes a ton of time, like a boatload of time to do this. But we're willing to make you a trade. We'll trade you all that time and all that effort that we do for a follow or a subscribe. That's all we're asking for. Wherever you're at right now, hit the follow, hit the subscribe button. And for the folks that are following and subscribing already, please hit the share button. Let your friends know what you're watching. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%.
All right. Let's move into the Howard's Cams community segment, dude. I'm excited about this week. There's some cool stuff, and then of course our guest for this week is awesome. He's a world traveler here, and he's backstage. So I told him we're about 15 minutes from bringing him on, maybe 10, looking at the notes we got here. So lead us in, sir.
Yep, I will go ahead and we're going to hit that Howard's Cam video and then we'll get into it.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Harris from the Monoxide Podcast. Real quick, Howard's Cams was founded as a racing cam manufacturer almost 80 years ago when Howard Johansson created Howard's Power and Racing Equipment in 1945. Howard's Cams has always used on-track experience to design the most powerful designs, and today they have an even greater group of experienced racers in circle track, drag racing, road race, mud bog, and marine. They use all this input plus the most advanced computer software to design the most competitive race-winning products. From pioneers in drag racing and oval track to cutting-edge marine development, Howard's Cams is at the forefront of the industry. So make sure to reach out to our friend, Luke B, for your next valve train upgrade.
I want to say thanks. Quick shout out to Monoxide, to Harris over there. We met him last year at PRI, and Eric doesn't know this, but we've already set up a time or set up a yes, we're going to have to get together conversation with Harris while we're both at PRI. So,
oh yeah, we did our first podcast with him there last year, and
Yep.
That was a ton of fun too.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. So I'm excited to have him to do some ad reads for us. That was pretty cool. That saves some people from our voice for sure. And guys,
I was gonna say I literally just watched you type this, so this was not on the notes. Literally 30 seconds ago, Mike just typed breaking news into our notes. So what do you got?
Bryant Goldstone has confirmed he will be at Hot Rod Drag Week 2024.
There we go. That's his fourth event.
Yes, for the year. Awesome. Crazy. I can't believe it. Fourth national event. He's only due to do 3 so far that I've seen. He said, this is a direct quote. He said, I will be at Drag Week, so no need for my slow friend Dave and the rest of Unlimited Iron to show up.
I love it.
So don't worry, guys. Y'all stay at home. We're picking another class. It's fine. That's exciting. Breaking news there for you guys.
Yep, you're talking about the 2023 world champion Bryant Goldstone, right?
Yeah. In that javelin that just dominated the points series last year and is currently leading the points again for 2024 with 3 national events and has won every class. He's done reset records twice and ran 6s at each event. Yeah, that dude.
All right, good. We're on the same page then.
Yeah, and he used his free entry that Matt Frost provided last year to Rocky Mountain as he went into Rocky Mountain this year, and it was his first time to attend Rocky Mountain Race Week, so it worked. It was exactly what that stuff was supposed to do, and it worked. And he went in and dominated, man. Fastest car of the event.
Yep, yeah, and we got to start working on starting to release what that stuff is going to look like for the winner for 2024 soon as well, because like I just said, we got 4 months until PRI.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I do have that Matt Frost has provided free entry into the mega. I was going to say mega cash days, but that's not what it is. But the mega Dragon Drive for the Dragon Drive World Series, Dragon Drive Super Bowl. I don't know, whatever it is. I think it's World Series. I think is what you would call it. For 2025. So whoever wins the 2024 Dragon Drive World Champion has a guaranteed free spot into the 2025 biggest event to ever be hosted.
That's awesome. All right, and in other new news, we've got Lapeer Dragway has been sold. I just heard about this. I think it
Mhm.
was either yesterday or earlier today that I read about
Yep.
that. So this could be good. We don't know yet. The previous owner did struggle against the city and the county and even the old owner. So I guess we're gonna have to wait and see how this plays out. But if you
Hope.
are looking, what's that?
I said I hope. I hope it's
Yeah.
good for me.
Yeah, if you're looking for an event that visits this track, Lapeer Dragway, make sure to sign up for Back to the Street 2024, which is registration opened up last Saturday. So that is open to go register for now. And that is the promoter is Matt Lang for that event as well. So Back to the Streets 2024 will go through Lapeer. So if you want to show some support to that track, make sure you go sign up for that.
Yeah, this was a crazy deal. Everybody that was at the track, that was a regular at the track, that when we were there for Back to the Streets last year, was just talking about how much the previous owner before this last one that sold, that they just, I mean, they made it almost impossible for him to operate. You know, having to close it like dark and couldn't run on Saturday night or something like. I mean, it was like just this entire thing, and the previous owner to him lived really close. So if they were in an infraction at all, he called the cops on them. And the cops
That's
were on
crazy.
his. I mean, it's just wild, dude. It's sad, really. If you're not gonna, if you sell your business, which was what that first dude did,
Yes.
you can't be mad if somebody's gonna go in and run it better than you did. You just, I mean, dude,
Correct.
are you trying to buy it back? No, you just wanted it closed because you built your house too close when you
Yeah.
owned it. Like, it doesn't even make sense to me.
Like
So,
like sell
anyways,
the house too then because there is
yeah.
a drag racer that would love to be right next to the racetrack.
Oh yeah. Can you imagine? I
I,
don't know. And we've been looking at a lot of stuff with Tulsa, and I'm like, man, there's so much opportunity here.
yep.
Yeah, garages and shops and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of stuff that goes into people having to drive that far. Anyways, good luck to Lapeer. I'm excited for them. I hope that it works out. All the good wishes to them, because that track is really cool. I love the way they do the containers. It gives you a really neat view. They've got stands on top of the containers, so like your visibility is awesome. I mean, it really is a super cool track.
Yep. And again, back to the streets. We'll be there um coming up. I forget what the date is for this one. Do you know offhand? I think it's the end
It's
of September, right?
Yep, yep. End of September, like September 26th through 29th.
Yep. Yep. So again, if you want to support Lapeer, go sign up for that. Registration was last Saturday, so it is open. Back to the streets dnd.com.
Hmm. And then heads up hustles this weekend. Again, I leave tonight. I just wanted to hit this one more time because I'm really anxious. So guys, bear with me because I'm going to go live a couple times during the event, right there, so you can hear my sweet buttery voice on the mic as well. But it is my first full announcing gig, so I'm kind of pumped about that. But the reason I brought it up is because I wanted to show this picture. Look how cool that picture is of this thing, man.
Yeah,
This
this
is
is
going to be a lot of fun.
yeah, this is super cool. I really like this design.
Yep. So I went through today, and well, John Paul Franks and Melissa. John Paul's the promoter, and Melissa's my wife. They all went through, made notes. I made notes. They helped sort them. Melissa printed a bunch of sheets for me, so I'll have the racer profiles that Eric designed and posted for us on Drag Drive Repeat. I have all of that information. It will be in a 3-ring binder by the time I get to Heads Up Hustle tomorrow. So I think that's going to help me, like, as far as moving through and having notes and having things to talk about. Cause I think that's probably my hardest part, is making sure that I have all of the data that I need in a timely manner to where I can see it as people are pulling up. So it's going to be kind of cool, man. I'm excited.
Yeah, it's gonna be super fun. If
Yep.
there's any kind of sticker or T-shirt of this,
Oh yeah.
you might have to send me one for sure.
Yeah. I'll grab you both for sure.
Super cool logo that they got created. Love that, especially the drag and drive street signs. Just
Oh
a little
yeah.
bit of extra detail on there goes a long way.
Yep.
And then we've got Danny Grubaugh made a post about his new trailer that he found for the top of the Gucci AMC wagon. I think that is super cool. He said, found me a rooftop topper for the Gucci for $666. She's a display model trailer. It's gonna look epic. There will be a small container on the side of it with markers on it. I would love everyone who does 666 to sign the side of the U-Haul trailer. That
That's really
is
cool.
awesome.
Yeah. And talk about like a really neat piece that can go on the shelf, that can go anywhere in your house, that can go in your shop and look cool forever. Like it looks cool now with nothing on it. Now imagine there's signatures all over it, 300 or 400 signatures all over it.
Right, absolutely. So everybody that is signed up or on 666, make sure you find this and go sign that for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And he drives the green AMC wagon, which this year will be way different. It was the inline six AMC powered last
Yep.
year. And this year, I think it's turbo LS or
Yep, I
will
think
be
that's
turbo. I don't think it's turbo LS yet, but I think it's getting there.
yeah, we got a couple more months until 666, so
Yeah.
but yeah, I think that was the plan.
Dude, less than 3 months.
Yes. Yes. Where has the season went?
I don't know, man. It is going crazy. All right. Well, let's bring on our guest here in just a second. This is Mr. Cody Clements. I can't even remember how the conversation with him and I started, but
Well, hopefully it didn't start just like this because you froze again. Uh, so I don't know how their conversation started, so I can't lead in on this. But Cody is in Australia. It is a 13-hour, I believe, time difference. And so currently it is first thing in the morning over there while it is the evening over here. So I'm going to go ahead and bring Cody on and I'm going to pull Mike down. Cody, how you doing?
Eric, what's happening?
Just keeping the show alive here. Mike keeps freezing up on me.
Yeah, that was a bad time for him to leave, I think.
Yeah, he jinxed himself before the show because he said, "Man, hasn't froze all day. I think we're good." And then we got 7 minutes in and he froze. So
Here we are.
yep. So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell them a little bit about Stick Shift Garage and we'll get this thing started.
Cody Clements from Perth, WA, which is Western Australia. Obviously from Australia. It's one big isolated continent, a little different to the packed US, I guess.
Yeah.
My channel on YouTube is a Stick Shift Garage. I just started probably 4 or 5 months ago. Just following through my 30A model hot rod build, which will end up being a drag and drive street strip kind of deal. So a lot of custom fabrication and engineering and pretty much building the whole lot myself. So I thought I'd try and document some of the process on YouTube. So let other people get involved and have a look. And along with that, a few other drag events and driving events. So this recent trip to Sweden was a perfect time to do a bit of content for the YouTube as well. And it seems that the viewers have really enjoyed it. So it's something different on my behalf, and it's good to learn the process and start to get creative on the content side of things as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. Mike and I say it all the time, one of the benefits to doing the stuff on YouTube is just to document what you've done, and that stuff's going to be around forever. So, kids, grandkids, everybody can go back and watch that stuff later and see all the cool stuff that we've done in the past for sure.
Yeah, 100%. And when I first got the invite to go to Street Week Sweden, man, I thought what an opportunity to document that for me and Martin to show everyone else what it's all about, And then we always have it, like you mentioned, for the future. So you can just let anyone know to jump on and check it out.
Yeah, absolutely. So why did you choose Street Week Sweden?
That's a funny story. I'll probably go back to how I met Martin in the first place. So back in 2016, a group of mates from Perth and the guys from Armadale Auto Parts, they invited us to go to Japan, the Yokohama Moon Eyes Hot Rod Show. And as well, there was probably 20, maybe 20 people from Perth, so quite a lot of Aussies over there. And at the same time, Alan had organised for some of the Swedish guys that he had contact with before to catch up over there and meet up. So we all flew over there, had a mad time, got talking. I think there was about 5 Swedes. So Martin was there, who's the owner of the hot rod that I was in, his brother and a few other mates. And that was the first time we met him. So that was, 2016. So that was 8 years ago.
Gotcha.
Last year in Christmas, so the one just gone, he actually flew to Perth with his wife to spend Christmas over here on vacation.
Oh, cool.
So that was a good time to catch up. So that was actually the second time that I'd only ever met him. But we'd kept in contact through social media and all of that. So he comes to my place, checks out the car, loves it, we get involved. He flies home, sends me a message a few weeks later, and he's like, man, you have to come to Street Week Sweden. You have to be the co-pilot. And I was like, I'd never been to a drag and drive, but I'd seen everything online and YouTube, Drag Week, Sick Week, Rocky Mountain, everything, So I sort of knew what I was going to be in for, and I knew it would be like an adventure of a lifetime. And man, what it turned out to be, it did not disappoint.
That's awesome.
Hi, I'm back.
Oh, Mike's back.
Hey, we'll see how long it lasts. I don't know. I just messaged my IT guy and said, hey, how do we hardline to the shop? So we'll do that soon. I don't know. So I think you just answered my next question, which was this your first event to do? And you guys kind of went into why, but say it just one more time because I was coming in late.
Yeah. So it was the first event that I'd been to. So I'd seen it all over the YouTube and socials and Drag Week, Sick Week, Rocky Mountain, everything, and it looks like the maddest time and the best adventure. So when Martin invited me to be the co-pilot for the whole week, man, I was stoked. So right. It did not disappoint. We had a 2 weeks of adventure.
That's awesome.
How long was the trip from Australia where you're at to Sweden?
There's a few different ways we can go. I think we can go direct to London, which is like a 19-hour flight. So I wasn't down for that. That's way too long in a plane. So I went through Doha. I think it was 11 and a half hours from Perth to Doha, and then 7 hours from Doha to Stockholm. So it wasn't so bad. At least it kind of split it up a little bit,
Wow.
Man, it's crazy to think the distance that truly is. Like, it's really far.
Yeah, it's like halfway around the world.
It truly is, yeah.
So
you're in this little
time, over there somewhere. So the time it takes me to get to the US or like into LA was a similar amount of time that it took me to get to Europe. It's just like the opposite way, I guess.
Yeah, that's pretty intense. Well, of the week, like there's a couple shots on your videos that is looks like maybe in a rental car, and then there's obviously a part of it where you actually got to drive the car. Like, did you ride with him all week, or did you kind of bounce around?
I rode with him all week. Maybe the couple of shots from the rental car either towards the end of the event or before the event. But yeah, I was the co-pilot for the whole week, and awesome. A couple of times he got me to drive just because you know how it is. Like, I think we ended up doing 1,500 kilometers. So it's quite a long drive, right?
Yeah, that's for sure. Well, I want to talk about this crazy. We're going to go through some pictures here tonight too. But the first picture I want to talk about is this trailer. Holy dude, how big is that thing?
Yeah, the trailer is really big. It looks really good behind it, but it's kind of too big in my opinion. It's nice to have all that stuff, but I'm sure that the car and the transmission doesn't really enjoy towing that thing around.
I feel like
but-
it's as big as the car is.
it's almost bigger, I think. It looks bigger. So in the front section of the trailer there, where that little window is, there's actually 2 drop-down beds on either side. So it comfortably sleeps 2 people laying down with about 3 or 4 foot at the door side where you can actually stand up and like where the toolboxes and the parts are and etc. As well as like underneath the bed, there's more parts and gear. Martin likes to really be prepared. So we had a lot of tools and he brought his TIG welder and gas for everyone. So if anyone needed it, which I think it was used like twice during the event. So it's good to have like a lot of things, but I feel it's kind of a little too excessive.
Well, and from what I see of the pictures over there, there's a lot of camping that goes on. So this is normal for folks to have a trailer that they're going to sleep in most of the week, right?
Yeah, 100%. So it's from what I've seen online, like with a sick week and drag week and all of that, everyone sort of splits up from the track and heads to motels fairly soon. So with the street week, it's kind of a more like a camping vibe at the track. Especially this year, they changed the times of the event. So I'm not sure if you guys are caught up with this, but the actual race times for each day were from 1400 to 2100. So they raced in the afternoon into the night almost. And the next checkpoints for the next day weren't released until 1700. So you either had the choice to, if you made a good pass early on, you could like pack up one and done, get on the road and drive during the night to the checkpoints and the next track. Or you could like pack up, camp at that track and then do the drive section the next morning. So I think it's kind of different to a lot of the US ones. I'm not sure if they've done similar yet, but from what I've seen, the times are a little earlier, right?
Yeah, so a lot of the events here will run morning time. They run like 8 to 3, except for like Rocky Mountain Race Week and some of the regional stuff. Which Rocky Mountain runs 3 to 11, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Which is pretty similar to what this one is, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So I feel like it really brought the crowd in as well, because that's the time over there is like their summer, right? So everyone's on vacation. So the crowds at each event were much larger than I'd expected. And a lot of people had mentioned that it was really good, that it was really getting picked up through the community, you know?
Mm-hmm. That's cool. Well, why don't you give us a little walkthrough about the hot rod there? Tell us a little bit about engine, trans combo, and just overall about the car.
Yeah, no problem. So this is Martin's 32 coupe, which I think he first finished in 2014. Once he finished it, he actually shipped it to the US. So this is kind of like a pretty famous European hot rod. So I think he drove it with his wife from Georgia to LA. They visited Louisville Street Rod Nationals, Good Guys West Coast Nationals, Grand National Roadster Show, Sacramento Autorama, and he picked up a few awards, which he was pretty excited about. So when he shipped it back, man, wherever you go, everyone knows this car, especially in Sweden. That's so cool. It is, and it's a beautiful car in person. I don't know if the photos like do it justice, but it is a cool car, and it's been through a few stages of change. Like right now in this photo that you'll see, it's in race mode with the pipes out the side, race tires, wheelie bars, no hood sides. So it looks a lot sort of different than when he first built it. But at the moment, it's got a small block Chev, a 383 combination with a 671 blower, like twin custom throttle body injection. So it's not a carburetor copy. It's actually two large throttle bodies on a custom plate that they've come up with and an injection setup. So
Nice.
it works with a max ECU, which I guess is kind of like a Holly deal, but it's coming up big in Europe now. So the actual engine management combination works really well, and it's really adjustable. So during the event, we played with a few different settings with the throttle body opening and that to try and get it to launch a bit more consistent. Transmission is a GM 4L80, 9-inch diff, all the standard sort of hot rod deals. The only thing is the suspension, and that is not really set up for racing as much as if you would, or if Martin would build it again. So it was standard style triangulated 4-bar, and now it's a ladder bar setup.
Gotcha.
So the chassis is sort of a hold back limitation almost on the car, but it is what it is, and it does work. You'll see some of the other photos, and it really hooks up in the 60 foot.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely does that. The car looks amazing making passes. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, the
Yeah,
car
there you go.
works and looks really cool.
It does, right? And man, everyone stops to take photos. Like, no matter where you are, if you're at the servo on the side of the road, wherever you are, people just like blown away from the car. And it's a real credit to him, you know?
Right.
Yeah, that's super cool.
Yeah, and then how many miles or kilometers is Street Week Sweden? How much did you guys cover?
So the funny thing is, when they advertise it on the poster, it says 150 mil, which I thought that was miles. So I was like, oh, that's not actually that far. But there's a Swedish thing, and 1 mil is actually 10 kilometers. So I'd never heard of this before, right? So that's actually 1,500 kilometers.
Oh,
Gotcha.
okay.
So
1,000
yeah,
miles.
so it's really far. Like, I guess, I don't know, drag week's similar, right? I'm not sure on the exact amount.
Yep.
But it's a pretty far time, especially in this car. Like, it's I'm not sure if you've been in a 32 coupe, but they're not the most spacious things to begin with. And then you add a roll cage and race seats and big transmission tunnel and all of that stuff, and there's not a whole lot of room in there.
I can imagine.
Dude, and I would think like the just the tightness of it. And did you guys drive with the side pipes, or was that like just for race mode?
So the side pipes are actually on full time, but what he did, I think a couple of years back, he ran a section under the rear with a small hot dog mufflers to the back, because the noise in the cab was just so intense for the whole time. So there's actually caps on the end of the side pipes when we're driving on the road, and then when we're at the track, we take those caps off. Otherwise, you would be you couldn't hear each other, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, let's say doesn't look like we can see him here. I was kind of hoping we could, but yeah, this is a shot of you guys on the road there.
Yeah, that's a super cool
Yeah,
picture.
we mostly that is, man, the whole scenery is like forest, right? It's so green over there right now. It was amazing.
Wow. Yeah, we'll go through. I'll back up to the front of the picture stuff, and then we'll go through those here in just a moment.
Is there anybody on the team that you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, for sure. So we cruised around with a small team of guys that Martin had met before and had competed with before. So you'll see in some of the photos, there's a blue Mazda RX-8. That was Henrik from Denmark. That thing had a 6-cylinder BMW engine swapped into it. I think it was a stock end, but it had a pretty large turbo. So I think it was making like in the realm of 700-ish horsepower, and he ended up winning pro touring class with that car.
Oh, cool.
So that was pretty cool. And it's a right-hand drive car as well, so it's kind of unique over there because they're the same as you guys. They drive left-hand drive. So over here, we drive right-hand drive. So it's like, this car's almost like home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another one of the guys, Nissa, had a Audi with a RS7 swapped engine in it. So it had a 4-liter twin turbo. That thing was also making similar power. I think it was around the 700-ish mark, all-wheel drive class. He came like third overall in his class. So that was another good effort. Yep. And the last guys were Joel Kim in the BMW diesel, I think with his brother and his son. So they ended up third in the diesel class. So it was really good to drive around with these guys and obviously stay together and camp together the night, help us out at the track if we needed it, or help us out on the road or whatever it was. It really kept the community vibe together, you know. So it was good to meet, especially never been to Europe before. It was good to meet other guys like together with us.
Yeah, I would think that would help a lot, especially like, I don't know, do they speak English there mostly, or it's a different language, right?
It is a different language. So it's Swedish, right? But I think in high school or school, they learn English. So a lot of them do speak English, maybe not perfectly, or maybe they're not real happy to use it in case of like embarrassment. But once you get to know people, and I can't speak Swedish, so I had no chance of like anything else. So it was English or nothing, right? So once I got to like know people and meet people, they really started to open up, and they're really welcoming. And like, even if they couldn't think of a word that they required at the time, you could work around it, right? Yep, so it was good. Like, yeah, everyone was really accommodating, man. Like, so many people that had probably never spoken English for a long time, they still try to make a conversation. So it was a really good time.
That's good to know. That's good to know. We're going to need to know that in the next coming years.
Yeah. If you head there, man, the first thing you have to say is English. Otherwise, it'll start off all kinds of weird.
There's Stefan Gustafsson runs, he has a channel, and there's a lot of times like it's hit or miss whether you're going to get English or Swedish. It's wild. Well, I'd like to go through a couple of these photos and kind of give us a rundown on them. Tell us what's going on. Maybe we go through two or three, and then we'll get kind of back into some of that. So what I would take, this is probably a driver's meeting. This is
this was the very first driver's meeting at Mantorp. So this was day one. So wow. Yeah, I think everyone. Yeah. So everyone's just hanging around there getting the driver's meeting, which was, of course, in Swedish. So I had no idea what was happening. So
you're like,
lucky I wasn't. Yeah, lucky I wasn't driving, because I would have had no idea where the return lane was.
Right. That's pretty awesome, man. That's a ton of people too. I love that the sport is that big there. Because I mean they're a lot like the other folks we talked to. They're cracked down on everybody doing cool stuff with cars.
They have, yeah. So I think they limited the tickets to 200, and that was the biggest event that they had. I think they had 198 entries full time, and they were turning people away, which were waiting at the gate with cars.
Wow.
So I think in previous years, people have dropped out, so they've let people through, but this year no one could come last minute.
Wow. Interesting.
So it was packed, man.
That's
and
good.
I think,
yeah.
Sorry. I think the initial tickets like sold out in 14 minutes or something. So I guess it's like the ones in the US where everyone's trying to get in straight away.
Yep. Yeah, that's huge. That's a huge win for them. I mean, to be able to have that kind of car count, and unfortunately, it's sad to turn people away, but to have to do that because based on your insurance and your track rental and all the stuff that goes along with that, that's pretty awesome. Well, what's happening here on the left, and then we'll talk about the right a little bit later.
So the left, that's another 32, which is if you follow along with the photos or the videos on the channel, man, that thing is like a wild setup. It's a twin turbo, some type of combination. I think it's a small block Chev around 400 cubes. It runs in, I think, Max Outlaw or the one under Max Outlaw. It's a very fast car, and they like to see that thing driving on the street. There's a cool clip I caught when we cruised past it, towing its small trailer. So good.
Yeah, that's awesome. it's really weird to see like what I would consider American cars over there. I know these aren't necessarily American cars, but like it's always cool to see the amount that turns out. And I think that's what's up next is nope, not that one. Like this one
Oh
here, I mean,
yeah,
like
yeah.
it's like a El Camino and a Chevy van. And
Yeah, yeah. So that El Camino is like a big block Chev sleeper, and in the rear quarter there, under the tailgate, there's like a toolbox. Under the toolbox, there's a side mount turbo, like a 88 or 98 millimeter turbo, like hidden under the tray. It's a pretty
Nice.
cool combination. So that young guy drives that, and yeah, he had a good time.
Yeah, talk about sneaking up on somebody.
Oh yeah, it's a full. We call that a sleeper over here. I'm not sure what
Yeah.
you guys call it over there, but
Same.
even the intake, it had like a standard air filter, and the intake was like ducted in underneath it, so you couldn't really tell.
Yes.
That's
I
pretty
like that.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
One
gonna need
one
some
thing that
see some more
really,
pictures of that.
yeah, for sure. One thing that blew me away was actually, like you said, the American car culture over there. Because I'd never been to Europe, especially Sweden, and everywhere you drive, there is old American cars on the road, and
Wow.
in the paddocks, in the barns, people's sheds, because I guess they were sold there new, which really surprised me because I didn't expect to see like so many of these cars over there.
Yeah.
So we're cruising down the freeway, and because it's their vacation time, you see like old Chevs towing little caravans and like pristine cars as well. Some of these cars are like show quality, and they're just cruising down the freeway towing a little caravan on holiday. It's like, this is cool.
For everybody in the U.S., that means they're towing a camper on vacation.
A camper, yeah, basically. Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's cool. So it looks like there was another shout out we wanted to do for C3 Corvette team.
Oh yeah, that's a Hellman Racing team. I think you could probably follow them on socials. That was Sari and Hanu. Man, that Corvette was fine. That is like almost a show car. Had a full red leather interior. They were running in Ultimate Street and ended up second, I think. It's a big cubic inch nitro steel, but really nice car and really nice people. The English wasn't perfect, but they were always so happy to talk to me, like, and see me during the lanes or through the laps or whatever it was. Man, always so happy. They had big issues on the last drive day. So something different with a street week, I think, is after the last track or the fifth track, the next day you actually have to transport back to the beginning. I'm not sure if that's common over there.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, so they finished racing at the last track, got on the road, and then had some like terrible engine dramas on the road. I think they had a couple of lifter failures that they couldn't repair. So I'm not. I think they removed the lifters and push rods and ran on 6 cylinders all the way back to Mantor, and that's a lot of dedication. They were a little concerned about oiling issues for the engine. It's quite a big cubic inch engine, and it was running like shit, but they made it. So. And they ended up picking second in their class. So that's some serious dedication. I'm pretty sure they camped on the side of the road after repairing the engine at like 4 a.m.
That's what I'm talking about. That's drag and drive life right there for sure.
Yeah, that's right. That's some husband and wife material, right?
That's exactly right. Well, run us through some of the tracks. We definitely want to know which track was your favorite, but what are some other standouts that were there that week also?
So the first track was a Mantor, as we've seen in that photo. That was like they have a circuit track and a strip there as well. So that was what I would call a pretty prep track, I guess. So everyone was hooking pretty hard and getting good times. Then we went to Delayana. Oh, so sorry. After the first track, they're all airfields. So they're all from the war or around that era out in the countryside, so really far out of the sort of close cities. So that's kind of unique in itself because they're all running 8th mile like on an airstrip, and 2 or 3 of those are actually virgin ground. So they hadn't run that place or that that direction on the airfield before. So that was a really leveling thing on a couple of the tracks.
Yeah.
So Dalayana was the second track. That was an airfield, but they'd run previously on that. So it had a bit of rubber down and pretty good traction. So it wasn't so bad for the guys. After that, we went to Sundsvall, which was a airfield as well, but they would also set up and started to race there. So it was a bit more set up as a 8-mile track, I think it was, full time. So there was a bit of traction down, pretty good. The fourth day, we went to Soderham, which is a fully virgin track, no rubber down at all. And that day, the weather was actually really starting to come in. So a lot of the cars got one quick pass, us included, and it wasn't the number that we were chasing. So we lined up again. So at 2 o'clock racing starts, we lined up again at around 3:30, 4 o'clock, and we sat in the lanes, 3 cars from the front, until 9 o'clock at night when the rain set in. So we did not get to make another pass. So we sat there for like 5 hours in the lane. So it started to rain. Yeah, man, it was devastating. So it started to rain at like 3 o'clock, and then probably 7:30-ish, it started to die off. So the track crew actually got out there with a vacuum and started to dry the track out. So they did that for a good hour. It was coming pretty good, and it looks like we could have got a pass in. And then half an hour before shut off, it just started to rain torrentially. So that was it. So we got like a 7.3, I think, and our cutoff is a 6.5. So we were not happy with that. But at least we got one pass in, I guess. There was about 10 to 12 cars that couldn't even make a pass. They didn't get time. So they got like an automatic 60-second penalty. So that was pretty devastating for them, you know. But I guess we can't control the weather.
Right.
Wow,
So after that day, there was a drive day to Luxor, but racing wasn't until the day after. So during the drive day, we actually had a few issues with the 32. We can get into those a bit later. And then Luxor was another virgin airfield. A lot of big power cars were struggling to get into the 4s there that they had been doing at other tracks. So I think only one car in the whole day got a 4.99, which was a new track record.
Wow.
He ended up winning Max Outlaw and the whole event overall. So that was a really fast matte black Nova.
Yep, and you can tell, like, for the folks that look up Street Week Sweden and the stats and stuff, you can see the day. There was one car that day that went 4s, and I mean, knowing now that was virgin, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. That the first few passes of those big hitters, they were either blowing the tires off or just snaking that whole way down the track, like no lift. And it's it's a little hectic. So I think those guys do a little bit of testing on the street as well, so they have a bit of an idea of what some virgin ground's going to be like. And see.
What's the event that 1320 goes over for all the time, or once a year, this Stockholm Open, like that?
Yeah, they have done the Stockholm Open. Yeah. There's a few events like that over there that guys are into, and there's some seriously big hitter cars in that kind of deal. They really know what's up.
Yeah, that's for sure.
That's wild.
So yeah, which of those was your favorite there? Which track was your favorite visit?
Probably Sundsvall, I reckon. It was like a pretty good track and a pretty good layout. So the pits are on the airfield up the back end. That was where I took that nice sunset photo. So yeah, it was a pretty good layout there. And the return lane, you could come back. Yeah, that one there. So that picture there is actually hard to believe, but that's midnight.
Yeah.
So this is somewhat in the north of Sweden. So this is the north, or the furthest north we went. So this sun is like still setting at this time. And I said to Martin, I was like, I need to pull the car up the end of the airfield here and get some shots because this sunset at midnight is perfect.
Yeah.
So is that normal then?
It is in the north of Sweden, yeah. Yeah. So the
Wow.
opposite happens in winter where the sun almost doesn't come out at all, which I find that pretty hard to believe. This was hard to get used to.
Yeah.
Now, well, that's why they have such long winters to build all these mad cars, right?
Yeah. They don't know what time it is. Like usually if it's 5 a.m. the sun's coming up here, I'm like, I've worked too long. But there you would just working.
So does the sun still 100%. Come up like first thing in the morning too?
So this exact day, the sun sort of dipped below the horizon at like 1 a.m., so about an hour from now. And then it come back up about 2:30. So it like almost didn't get dark at all. It was just like light the whole time. I think we went to sleep at like 3 a.m. You can see some of this footage in the channel on the latest video. There's some guys still welding their diff back together at like 3 in the morning.
Man, that's wild. I couldn't imagine sun sets at 1 and then a couple hours later, if that, it's back up again.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. No thanks. That'd be pretty tough. Now, this made me think of like time zones. What is the time zone difference from where you live to Sweden? Just a couple hours?
6 hours. So I think they were 6 hours ahead.
Wow, that's awesome.
Sorry, when it was in Sweden, Perth was 6 hours ahead.
Gotcha. So it wasn't too bad then.
No, not so bad. So you could still contact back home with the family and that,
Yeah. Speaking of, it's Thursday morning where you're at right now, correct?
It is, yeah. It's 9:32 a.m.
Yeah.
He's in the future.
I know.
Yeah,
I'm in
the future.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome. We have some political questions to ask later.
Yeah. So we're gonna move on and talk a little bit about route stops now. So we talked about your favorite tracks. What were some of the route stops, and then what were your favorite of those route stops?
Oh yeah, this one here is a random train station, sort of in the middle of nowhere. This one was probably my favorite because we caught up with a Volvo, sorry, along the drive that had actually come from the US. It was a cast block LS deal with like a massive turbo. It had like a 98 millimeter, I think. It was probably too big for the combination. But the dudes are from England, I think. You might recognize the car. I'm not sure if I uploaded a photo of it, but I'll put some footage up later. I think it had done Sick Week or Drag Week, either one of those. Okay. So they competed, sent it back to England, and then for Street Week here, they put it on the ship, I think, sent it over and drove it for Street Week. So they were having a mad time as well. And it was a little easier to speak English for those guys. We could have like a fully fluent conversation. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, you're like, finally, people speak my language.
Someone from the motherland.
That's awesome.
And then what were some of the other stops?
Yeah.
Some of the other stops. So this is one of them here. This is someone's cafe, like out in the country. They had a cool hot rod on the roof. A lot of the crowd got behind this one and were like parked out waiting for the cars to come through. So this is a really cool stop along the way. Some of the other stops, there was a couple of businesses. Not sure. There's photos. A few businesses, a suspension shop, one of the parts retailers, a random bus stop in the middle of the country, which is kind of hard to find on the GPS because it took us like a real weird way.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
Pretty wild. So we've talked about favorite tracks. We talked about favorite route stops. What about some of your favorite cars that were on the event?
I'm always a liker for the hot rods, right? And I'm building one now. So there was a few cool hot rods out there. There was that black 32, like we've seen that twin turbo deal. There was another yellow 32, which we don't have a photo of, but that's runs a Max Outlaw as well. That's like a 4-second car, which is a
Wow.
very fast deal. It runs like a full hood and sides, so you can't really see the engine combination. So to be that quick, it's a pretty cool car.
Yeah.
There was also like a 36 Deluxe hot rod class, which is running a LS with a 8 HP, which was a pretty cool car. But heaps of unique cars and obviously a lot of Volvos, right? Volvos are Swedish, so everyone just grabs a Volvo and whacks like the biggest motor you can find in there, and then they call it a Volvo. So there's another guy on socials called Peter Bjork. I'm not sure if you guys are around him, but he's just completed a Volvo, like a 244 or something, with an Audi R8 mid-engine swap, or like a Lamborghini V10 mid-engine swap.
Yep.
Wow.
And that thing is insane. So yeah, if you're not around that, try and look that one up. It's pretty insane.
Yeah, that one's pretty intense. Well, let's talk about some of the struggles you had with the car, because you sent me this photo before we got started, and you're like, ask me about this later. Tell us what's going on with this photo here.
Right. So if you follow along with the YouTube videos, you'll kind of see that on the latest one that's uploaded, we got the transmission a little warm on the way into Sundsvall. So I changed the fluid, and we continued on. We raced that day, and we raced the next day where we got that one pass in the rain. We're cruising along this drive day down the freeway, and the car's running perfect. Like, we're sitting on, I don't know, miles, maybe 55 miles an hour, 50 mile an hour. What's that, like 100 Ks an hour? I think it's pretty close. Car's running, yeah, pretty close, somewhere there. Car's running really smooth, towing the trailer. All of a sudden, we hear like this grinding noise for 2 seconds. Me and Martin look at each other and was like, damn, that's weird. I'm not sure what it was. Car was still acting fine. We get like 3 minutes down the road, and all of a sudden we lost all drive in every gear.
Oh.
So we were in trouble, because the section of the freeway we were on just had like 2 lanes and a guardrail either side. So there was like no shoulder to pull over on. So we coasted past like around a corner there, just enough to get it like kind of half off the road, and the blue RX-8 you can see here pulled up right in front of us, and we quickly grabbed the strap and try to tow the car and the trailer and the whole deal off the road, like off the next freeway exit. And the poor BMW 6-cylinder was building some boost trying to pull the big deal along, but luckily we got off the road there, and we pulled into this old Bricksworks factory and confirmed that the transmission was pretty much non-existent. So we had no gears, no reverse, no gears, no nothing, and it started to smell. So we knew it was going to be terminal.
Yeah.
So me and Martin had a bit of a discussion. He made a few phone calls to friends, and this transmission being a 4L80, it's not super common over there. Similar in Australia, it's not a common transmission here. So the only parts that we could have drummed up in time would have been like clutch packs, which we had a feeling it wasn't fully convinced to be just clutches anyway. So we made the call. Martin made the call, and he's like, it's not worth spending the time to pull it out, try and rebuild it on the side of the road with no parts, and waste all that time anyway. And from the day before with the rain, we'd gone from 2nd place to 4th place. So we really didn't have a whole lot of chance in the competition. So that mixed with the parts availability and everything else, he decided to call it a day, which was a little disappointing at the time for sure. Both me and him were, a little upset, as you get. But when we found out later on at the end of the event, once we pulled the transmission out, he definitely made the right call because it had ruined some hard parts. One of the planetaries got seized and it had stripped the sun gears completely. So we had no chance of fixing that thing, especially not on the side of the road.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have pulled it apart and just been looking at 4 hours worth of work in a pulled apart thing.
Yeah, basically in the side of an abandoned brick factory. So not the most ideal conditions, right? So he did make the right call in the end. As much as you hate to see it, you know, it's it was what it was. So that was it. But Martin's got some big plans now because this is like he's had some bad transmission dramas with this. So it's like the 4th transmission he's blown up. So he's gone through them all. So he's really had enough. So it looks like now he's installing 8 HP 75, I think, which are a real common transmission over there because they come out in a lot of Beamers and Audis and all of them. So the price point and the tunability and the electronic lockup and leave and all of that has really sold it. So we're probably going to have 2 of them. So I think he's already ordered the bell housing conversion and we're getting underway to make that change over there. So at least with something like that, you could have a spare back at the shop that you could just swap over on the side of the road if you ever have to, which is much easier than trying to pull apart a transmission that you can't get parts for.
Oh, especially, and that's an interesting choice. That's we're seeing a lot more of that. A lot of people are looking at different stuff, not just going straight for the Turbo 400 anymore.
Yeah, 100% with these new transmissions, and I guess even with a 4L80, the overdrive is key on these drag and drive events, right? So it makes it so much easier when towing, and that like HHP has 2 lots of overdrive, so the computer can control whatever you want. You know, you can adjust the torque value inputs to each gear change and everything. You can leave in 2nd, 3rd. It's got a trans brake. So there's a lot of tunability and a lot of things ticking the box for the price point.
Yeah, I mean that's and just being able to get it is one of the big wins there.
Oh, yeah. Well, they're so common in those European cars. I mean, I guess it's harder for you guys, but the stronger versions come out in the Dodge Hellcats. I think they're 8 HP 90. So they're pretty common over there, I guess.
Oh, okay. Interesting. So with all that and upgrading the trans and everything, are you planning on going back and doing Street Week Sweden again?
Yeah, I think after this time, man, I'd like to say this was an adventure of a lifetime, and it was, but I want to do it again. We had such a good time, and
that's awesome.
We're gonna try and push for a win. You know, we feel we can be a little bit more competitive. The car is too fast for the class by a little bit. Oh, we've lost Mike.
Yeah, he froze up again.
So the breakout for the hot rod class in Street Week is a 650, and the car is capable of like 620s. So, and you've seen the way it can hook. So we feel with a bit of tuning and adjustability and power management side of things, transmission management, we can try and sharpen up the pencil on the 650s and really run a competitive race. Gotcha. So I'd like to say that I'll be there next year. And we'll really push for it, you know?
That'll be awesome.
Yeah, for sure. I'm really, really looking forward to it. I think Martin is as well.
Yeah, I'm sure. So kind of switching gears a little bit here. We've talked a little bit about your coverage and Stick Shift Garage, but what else can people expect to see on your YouTube channel?
Yeah, no worries. So my channel I basically started it to kind of document the build of my car, which is a 30A model hot rod, kind of a drag and drive deal, set up for a radial tire, a lot of, he's back. Hi, Mike. A lot of design and sort of technology and modern car tech has gone into the chassis development of that. So no one's really done that before in a hot rod that I've seen. So I kind of wanted to document that build, and once it's on the road, kind of let everyone see what it's like and bend the rules a little bit, because this will still be a fully registered street car in Perth, but it will also should be pretty quick on the track. So you have to toe the line of like getting it registered and running the fine line of like what I can get away with. You know what I mean? So that's kind of that was kind of the idea of the channel to begin with, but also following a lot of local drag events. We have a racetrack down here called Quinata Motorplex. So a few of those events, obviously Street Week Sweden coverage, which is done really well for the channel. So for such a small channel, the views have really blown up in the last couple of weeks. So that's been really good to see. But yeah, follow along for automotive stuff, fabrication tools, tips, everything like that.
That's
very cool.
Recap again what the powertrain in the car is.
In my car, sorry.
Yep.
Yeah, my car is a GM LSA, so it's a crate engine, factory supercharged. I think it come out in your Camaro or Corvette, and it come out in our HSV GTS Holden Commodore. So it was like Australia's quickest or fastest production car, matched with a 4L80, chromoly sheet metal housing, 9-inch, all chromoly tubing for the chassis, everything like that. So it's a parallel 4-bar with a track locator, adjustable rear steer, like a lot of deals going into that chassis kind of suspension side of it as well. So it should be something pretty cool.
Yeah. And then did you guys talk about like how do you end up doing that? Like how did you get to that point?
So my dad actually has built hot rods sort of all his life. So obviously you get brought up around hot rods.
Oh, yeah.
So that's good for me, right? And he sort of collected parts for the body like maybe 20 years ago. So they were just sort of flat packed and stored, like the cowl, the rear quarters, the doors. They were just sort of stored away for a while. And as I've grown up, I was like, right, it's finally just time to build it. And being a fabricator, I was like, I'm going to do the whole lot myself and really try and test the boundaries and my skill set and make something really to be proud of. So, yeah, that's basically it.
That's awesome. Yeah. And this is, I mean, dude, I love the
that
looks awesome.
Yeah. So the stance is really not a traditional hot rod, and it runs 275 60s all round. So it's kind of a really unique look. So it's like square tire, fat tire fronts. It's like my interpretation of like a race car with an old body on the top is basically what you could put it down to, which kind of upsets a lot of the hot rod purists. But in the end, that's right. In the end, you build a hot rod or a car to suit yourself, right? And if everyone likes it, they like it. If they don't, they don't. So it's like, oh well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be
when they write the check, they can say what they like.
Oh, 100%. It's going to be a cool car. And yeah, if you're interested to follow along the build process, for sure, follow along, and I'd love to have you on the channel.
Yep. Yeah. You kind of mentioned when you were talking about the car about kind of skirting the line there with it being a street car. Do you guys have pretty strict rules over there when it comes to modifying your cars and stuff?
Yeah, we do. We have a lot of strict rules on factory style cars. Definitely the power to weight ratio, the engine swap side of things is really hard to do, I guess. It is possible, but like ridiculous swaps like twin turbo big blocks and stuff, like impossible. So legally very hard to do that kind of deal. The hot rods are a little...
They limit your power to weight ratio?
So the weight of the car has, I think, off the top of my head, it's 180 kilowatts per ton.
Wow. Interesting.
That's on a standard factory car. The hot rod deal is a little different. We're limited by a cubic inch capacity, so it's a 460 cubic inch capacity. We have to run either fenders or small, what we call cycle guards. So they're like a motorcycle guard over the tires. So I know you guys over there in Sweden and that don't have to run fenders at all. So that's like another difference. We've got like a ground clearance rule of 100 mil. So the lowest part of the car has to be like 100 millimeters off the floor. So I would guess it's a lot stricter than the US over here.
Yeah.
So here's, I mean, we have a lot of those laws in place. We have a lot of those rules in place. Our police just don't enforce them. When they see a cool car, they're like, "Oh, thumbs up."
Yeah. You got a lot of people. I think it comes down to the people, right? So you have like so many people over there, and I guess so little police, or I don't know about the combination, but over here, there's like, especially in Perth, we only have 2 million people in the whole of this state. So there is not really that many people, and there's not that many roads and places. We only have like one big city, and so you're bound to stick out like a sore thumb, right? And they're not going to turn a blind eye when they see something ridiculous driving past.
They're like, "Oh, that's an easy way to make some money."
Oh yeah,
let's go talk to that guy. Yeah, that's cool.
100%. And we got like speed cameras on the side of the roads and fixed speed cameras and all of that deal. So they get you any way they can. Don't worry about that.
Wow. So is there an Australian drag and drive in your future?
Yeah, I would like. So we run in Australia. There's a street machine drag challenge, which obviously you guys have heard all about. So I think that's in the Melbourne area, or the Melbourne Sydney area. It's on the east coast anyway. It's like 3,500 kilometers from me, so it's somewhere over there. But once my car is finished, I would love to trailer the car over there, drive the event, and then trailer it back, because that's way too many kilometers to put on a car that you're trying to race.
Yeah, we were talking before
for sure.
the show. You said that was roughly how many hours?
It's like 52 hours of driving, I think it is, to get over there, like from Google Maps or whatever it is. So that's a lot of driving.
Yeah, that'd be tough. That'd be tough to take, especially, if it's a new build, to drive that long and then try to beat on it for an event and then drive back. That's almost impossible.
There's not a lot in the middle of Australia, so I wouldn't really want to be trying to rebuild the transmission on the side of the road out in the desert there.
At one point in 23, Mick Apps with the Road Trip Drag Challenge had created an event in Perth at whatever track is closest to you. He had it, but he couldn't get. I don't think there was something he couldn't get done with it and had to cancel the event. So he's definitely looking. There's people trying to do something closer to you, and it would just be a regional event, a weekend type deal. But there's definitely got to be some want over there for sure.
Yeah, especially the radial tire kind of thing now is really starting to take off in Perth. So there's a lot of fast street cars getting built on radial tires, which you can sort of run on the street, I guess, as far as like DOT approval. Like you really can't be driving around on a slick or anything over here, or like a 33-inch wide tire that you see like you guys doing in Sweden. That's impossible. But a radial tire, like a 275 kind of deal, you could drive that and not stick out too much. You know what I mean? So I think it's really starting to come up with the fast street car kind of thing. So hopefully, it picks up in Perth, and like you said, maybe they come up with a regional deal or something where we start at Kwinana, which is our only track, and possibly do like a 8th mile at maybe an airfield or something somewhere else. So there's a lot of possibilities, and once a car's closer to completion, I'd really like to look into that as well. So hopefully we could set something up. Yeah.
Well, and by then you'll be YouTube famous, and like you'll have sponsors that'll take you to get your car across the country and all that kind of stuff.
Wow, you can only hope, right? If any sponsors are available, I'll ship my car to Sweden too one year once it's finished.
Yes, yes, that's exactly right. And you can make that happen faster with large checks.
Oh
Right.
yeah.
That's awesome. Well, listen, man, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day there. It's daytime for you and nighttime for us here in the States. I appreciate you doing this. I really do. I know we kind of barraged you with some questions, but I appreciate your openness and sharing your experience with Street Week Sweden and just some backstory of how all of that come together. That's really cool.
Yeah.
No, thanks so much for having us on. It's been brilliant, guys, and it's good to get publicity out for what we do, right?
Yeah.
Drag,
Oh,
drive,
hey.
repeat.
That's exactly
Absolutely.
right. That's exactly right. Well, hey, thanks again. We appreciate it. We'll see you soon.
Thanks.
See ya.
All right, guys. And now remember, go follow Stick Shift Garage on YouTube because that dude has some really cool stuff. And just the way he explained stuff, I felt like I understood, which is really cool. And to be able to, I mean, think about that, dude. He like traveled from Australia, which is in the southern hemisphere,
Right.
to Sweden, which is in the northern hemisphere, to do a dragon drive. Man, that's so cool. From people
Yeah.
am I hearing that right? He met them in like 2016. How cool
Yeah.
is that?
Yeah. It's
Wow.
super cool. I always like when we get people from Sweden and Australia on the show because it I mean, we don't have the ability to talk to people like this regularly. So it's
Yeah.
super cool to hear their stories and hear their experiences. I always enjoy it.
Yep, and especially to have the experience he did, where he actually, these people are, has a few friends, and then he can travel up there and do all that. I mean, that's really awesome. We need friends like that. We need friends in Sweden. I think we have a few. We just need to
Yeah.
maybe lean on them a little bit
It,
and get that set up.
yeah, and listen, this was his first Dragon Drive. So your
Dude,
first Dragon Drive, you traveled across the country to
yeah,
co-pilot in a 32 coupe. Like,
yeah, across the world, man,
does it
across the
get much
world.
cooler than that?
No, not at all, not at all. Well, man, send us out. Let's get out of here so I can get on the road.
Yep. All right. So once again, guys, it's been a fun night. We've had a ton of people in here watching, ton of people making comments. Thank you to you guys. You guys are what help keep us going. You guys are what's going to get Mike from where he's sitting now to Detroit to get on a mic and preach drag and drive to all the people at that event. And again, guys, thanks to our sponsors. We couldn't do it without them. Summit Racing Equipment, Driven, Racing Oil, Molly Motorsports, Car Chains 3D, WAF Racing, Performabuilt Transmission, Howard's Cams, Sweet Patina, Racing Junk, and Power Tube TV. Guys, we will see you on the next episode.
All right, see you guys.